The mist was heavy and clung to Sarah as she approached her childhood home, a small house on the outskirts of town. It had been years since her father disappeared without a trace when she was only 16. As Sarah stood on the front porch, memories flooding back. The sound of her father's laugh, his animated storytelling, and then the sudden emptiness that filled their house after he vanished. She took a deep breath before turning the doorknob and stepping inside. The once lively rooms were now covered in a thick layer of dust. In her father's study, Sarah went through his belongings, searching for any clue that could link him to the lighthouse and its string of disappearances. Her father was a sort of local historian who had obsessed over the unexplained disappearances at Raven's Hollow. Among stacks of books and scattered papers, Sarah stumbled upon her father's journal. As she began turning the pages, her father's curiosity about the lighthouse's history grew deeper. He had become fixated on the mysterious stone, or as he put it, the artifact found by Thomas Mallory, the former lighthouse keeper. In an entry dated just days before he vanished, her father wrote about his plans to investigate the stone himself. He believed it held secrets that could explain the strange disappearances in Raven's Hollow. The entry ended abruptly, leaving more questions than answers. Sarah's heart raced as she began to piece together the puzzle. The lighthouse, the stone, and now her father's disappearance. They were all connected. Eager to find out more, Sarah made her way to the town's bar, where the older residents often gathered. She hoped someone would have information about her father and what had happened to him. The bar was dimly lit and filled with chatter. Sarah approached Hank, the bartender with weathered hands who had been pouring drinks in this town for as long as she could remember. "I'm looking for information about my father," Sarah began. "He disappeared many years ago while investigating the lighthouse." Hank squinted slightly. "Ah, yes, your father. He was too curious for his own good, you know. Heard he went to the lighthouse one night and never came back." "What was he looking for?" Sarah asked. Hank leaned in closer, his voice barely audible. "Rumor has it he found some old records mentioning the cursed stone. Said he was going to prove it existed. But no one knows what actually happened after that." Sarah's eyes widened. Hank shook his head and continued. "Some things are better left alone. Know what I mean?" As she got up to leave, Sarah couldn't help but feel that she was getting closer to the truth behind her father's disappearance, but also getting closer to danger herself. Heart pounding, Sarah thanked Hank. She knew somehow her father's death was not an accident, but rather a consequence of his curiosity. As she walked through the narrow streets of Raven's Hollow, she began to feel closer to her father and his obsession with the lighthouse and its secrets.